for the moment everyone's been waiting for. The Wimius K1.
The Wimius K1 is a budget-friendly projector that is designed to be portable. Is it worth the price? Let's find out.
Oh, that's nice. It actually comes with a carrying case if you want to go ahead and go portable with it. Let's see what's inside it.
From here, the Wimius K1 came with all your typical accessories, including a really nice HDMI cable and a remote control. Now, typically, I just throw these remote controls aside. I don't use them. But this one, you're going to want to hold on to because, well, more on that in just a minute.
Honestly, I had no idea what this looked like. That's cool. Okay, it's got an IR port in the front. All right, that's nice. This is removable, it looks like. And that's to change out your filter. Should your filter need to be replaced, that's good. That'll help the longevity of the projector. It does have a tilt screw adjustment right there. It has a cap. This is cool too. It's actually got all your buttons on top, and it's got this like fabric covering, which is pretty nice. The back, headphone out, AV in, USB, IR port, another IR port, depending on where you're sitting, if you're sitting in front or behind it. And then it has 2 HDMI imports, which is what I'm going to be using. All right, I'm gonna be honest. I need to fire this thing up and see what it looks like.
Now, it can be really hard to get the image to fit your screen correctly with these budget projectors, and that's because your high-end projectors have these really nice Keystone controls, but typically budget projectors just don't. So you're spending a lot of time setting this up, but this one actually has a really good Keystone control.
I'm gonna go down to digital zoom for a second. I'm gonna select that, and I'm gonna show you what the Keystone does. So this tells me, hey, I can move it up and down, and you can see that I'm just a little bit too far back. So let's see if we can zoom it. Yeah, smaller. We can see that the image is not quite on there. We can tell that because we're getting some black lines here, not showing the full image on either of these sides. Scroll over to side, click on your manual Keystone, and this will adjust each corner so we can fit the corner perfectly in there. That corner's in there, up and over a little, and now it fits perfect. And that's going to be really good for a lot of you guys that don't have the ability to set this up perfectly. And this is one of the things that really expensive projectors, or much more expensive projectors I should say, have on it that usually budget projectors don't. So the fact that this one has it on there is great, and you can still see it's still in focus, or really good in focus at least.
Now, all of these adjustments were being made via the buttons on the top of the unit itself, and I gotta say, it's pretty exciting. There's a lot in those settings you can do. You can hook up to wireless internet, you can do system updates, you can do the Keystone that I was doing there. These settings also allow you to hook up wireless Bluetooth headphones or Bluetooth speakers for much better sound. It has its own main screen as well, and this particular main screen has all kinds of options, such as connecting to your HDMI inputs and connecting to like video files and audio files that'd be on your USB device, as well as Miracast and iOS Cast. Now, I do want to talk about the iOS Cast because I did try that with my iPhone. I gotta say, it didn't work for me. As soon as I got the iOS Cast working, it would just go to one screen and freeze. I couldn't cast anything to it, and it wasn't updating as my screen was updating. Now, that could be something with my phone. It could be something with the unit itself, but I will say this, I can't recommend buying this based on that feature alone.
All right, the picture doesn't look terrible. Well, it's definitely oversaturated. Let's see if we can fix that. All right, so I'm actually trying to work with this projector, and I was pressing all the buttons on it. They couldn't figure out how to change the video settings. That's because you need this. This is the remote control.
See, this remote control has a very important button on it that the unit itself doesn't have. All those buttons on top of the unit are pretty much useless once you go into HDMI mode. You actually need this button right here. This is the menu button. It looks like 3 lines. It's not on the projector. It's only on this remote control. And for this remote control to work, well, you need 2 AAA batteries because there are none with it. So I went and scavenged some AAA batteries. I was able to get a better picture out of the projector. Now, before we go too much into picture quality, I think it's important to notice what the Wimius K1 is all about, and that's brightness. The Wimius K1 is designed to be used in a less than ideal situation, unlike really what I have. I have a completely light controlled room. Most people that will be buying this are going to be people that are using it outside when it's a little dusk on, or maybe you have some outside lights that are going to bleed into the picture, or maybe you'll be in a room, like a living room or a bedroom with your lights on a little bit. Well, the Wimius K1, because of its brightness, is designed to be able to try to cut through some of that. And because of that, I believe that's why it's oversaturated, is so that when the lights go on, it looks a little bit better when it's fighting those external lights. In a dark room, well, you're going to have to turn your contrast and your saturation down a little to be able to get it looking, more of what I personally enjoy. It's also important to note that I'm kind of a snob when it comes to video quality, and I actually calibrate my devices with video calibration tools, and that's something like you can't do on a budget projector like this. However, if there was a budget projector that offered calibration tools beyond just your normal brightness and contrast, I would be definitely down for reviewing that, because that would be very exciting. But just keep in mind, your picture is going to be limited based on these modes, and they are fairly good. As you go through these, you're going to see that some of them brighten up the screen a little bit more, so you can see if you have darker content to be able to see those shadow details a little bit better, although you will miss out on your real blacks, and that's a problem with a lot of projectors, but definitely these budget projectors. And then you do have some that do give you those blacks, real blacks, but when you do, it has a lot of black crush, so you'll miss a lot of shadow detail that you would get on some higher end projectors. But overall, I think after adjusting that user setting, it was a completely usable projector. And in fact, I'm definitely going to be using this as my new outdoor projector, mainly because of that Keystone feature, because I am a really sucker for getting that screen perfectly in place. For everything the Wimius K1 does well, there are a few things you should be aware of before you just go out and buy this unit. First, it's loud. It's really loud, and I think part of that has to do with the fact that they once again want it to be so bright. With great brightness comes great fan. And I definitely wouldn't want to be sitting next to this projector, especially if I didn't have good sound while I'm watching a movie. Another thing that I noticed is when I plugged my power cord in, it seemed like part of the projector that I had received had been broken. And so when I pushed it in, you could actually wiggle the back, which does have me a little bit concerned with the quality of the product in general. If it wasn't for that, I don't think I would have any real concerns about this particular product. And finally, make sure not to lose that remote control, because if you do, there are certain things that you will not be able to do with your projector. So should you buy the Wimius K1 projector? I mean, that really is a question. Honestly, if you're looking for a really bright projector to be able to fight through lights, I think the Wimius K1 is a good choice to choose from. But if you're looking for the absolute best picture quality, then I probably wouldn't go with the Wimius. I'd go with the one that I reviewed just a little while ago, which is called the Hapron. You can see that review down in here. Alright guys, that's all I have for you today. Make sure you like the video and subscribe. This is Toys DIY Audio. I'm out.